radical equations. The focused learning targets, I can solve radical equations. Equations that contain variables in the radicand are called radical equations. To solve, isolate the desired variable on one side of the equal sign, and then square each side of the equation to eliminate the radical. So if we have a is equal to b, then that means that a squared is equal to b squared, because we could square both sides of an equation and the resulting equation is still true, right? So we're going to use that when we have a radical in our equation, because if we have on the left side square root x is equal to 4, then we could square both sides of the equal sign, and that's going to result in x is equal to 16. Right? So that's how we can pull variables out from underneath the square root. So let's go ahead and see it in action. We have the equation 16 is equal to the square root of x divided by 2. Solve for x. Well, the first thing we would want to do is multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of that denominator, right? Which we're doing here. That leads to 32 is equal to square root x. Now here, we are going to apply this power property of equality and square both sides of the equal sign. If we square both sides of the equal sign, what we're left with is 32 squared, which is 1024, is equal to square root x times square root x, which is simply equal to x. And we've solved for x. And that's our solution. So that is our strategy. And so let's go ahead and try this problem here. First, we need to isolate the square root. All right. So we're going to subtract 2 from both sides of the equal sign. That's going to leave us with 4x minus 7 is equal to 5. Now we need to get rid of the square root, so we're going to square both sides of the equal sign. If we square root 4x minus x times square root 4x minus 7, if we take this and we multiply it by itself, what we get is 4x minus 7 outside of the square root. And then on the right side, we get 25. Right? Now we have an equation that we can solve for x, so we're going to add 7 to both sides of the equal sign. We get 4x is equal to 32. And we divide by 4 to isolate the variable, and we get x is equal to 8, and that's our final answer.